What's this last week plus been like for you? I mean, I was out there in LA. I was there for the the big night on Tuesday, and so just what has it been like for you personally, emotionally, and just kind of being a part of what's been a celebration about LeBron and you?
Well, I was glad that I could be there and demonstrate it wasn't a problem, and I was happy to hand the record over to him. I guess that was symbolic in me handing him the ball. That was it. We didn't have any quarrel or anything. It went smoothly.
Do you think what do you think the role of retired players, especially players of your stature, are to players who are playing right now? If there is any responsibility for, I don't know, mentorship or guidance, do you think that you all have a responsibility?
Well, I think it's neat when that can happen, when we can be mentors. I know growing up in New York City, I got to know Johnny Green and Willie Knowles and Richie Guerin and Bob Cousy, just because I went to the Garden a lot, and as tall as I am, I stood out, and they figured I might have a future. But they would acknowledge me. Hey, how you doing, kid? How your grades, things like that. They go a long way to giving you an incentive. Of course, being able to watch people like Bill Russell and Wilt play, that was really something that benefited me, because I learned a lot. My high school coach explained a few things, but seeing it in motion, alive, and working really helped me, absorb what I needed to absorb to play the game smartly.
Do you have a kind of relationship with any players now like that kind of give and take or mentorship in that way?
Not really. I made up for a lot of time with Shaquille yesterday. He interviewed me, and we just got a lot of things straight. I used to think I hated him. It was never the case. I was waiting for him to reach his potential before I could support him. I didn't want to support him, and he was just an also-ran. And he and Kobe got together and changed everybody's idea of what he was possible of doing. I don't know if you guys remember the Orlando-Houston playoff series, and Olajuwon just took Shaquille to school, and what could I say? It was time for him to learn and get serious, and once he did that, he's Hall of Fame, and he belongs there.
What's your earliest basketball memory?
My earliest basketball memory, trying to get the ball up as high as the rim. I was in the second grade. I didn't have the physical strength to get the ball up to the rim. It took a while. It took a couple of months before I developed the upper body strength.
I've been talking a great deal to a man named Mr. Couch.
Couch, you know Couch?
I do know Couch, and he speaks, of course, very highly of you, as you might expect. What would you say Jim's role or his place is in sort of the evolution of you and the hook shot?
Well, there was a guy that lived in the projects. My grade school coach, his name was Farrell Hopkins, and he got this guy to show me the George Mikan drill, and I just started working on that. I was in the 5th grade, and that was, I learned ambidextrously. I learned how to use the glass, and I learned real good footwork. Those things helped me my whole career.
What?
And I'm pretty sure Couch knew him.
Jim said that he saw you doing it one day. This was, I think you were like in the 8th grade, and he said that you weren't doing it properly or whatever. So he started to work with you in the park every day at 4 o'clock for about a year.
I don't know about that. My grade school is where I really learned it.
St. Jude's.
St. Jude's, yeah. And the custodian would let me have the keys so I could get into the gym in the evening. I just had to put the chairs and stuff back where they belong. And I'd work on it like that by myself. I just 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. By the 8th grade, I had it down, you know, and we would play guys in the neighborhood that were in college. Well, I would.
Why do you think that skyhook has been so impossible for anyone but you to even master?
It hasn't been impossible for anybody but me, but I don't think coaches have anybody that wants to practice it. I remember I met Cliff Hagan. I don't know if you guys remember him. He was an all-star a couple times, but he shot it a little bit further out than I did and didn't jump as high, but it was the same mentality and motion. And I remember I had a chance to talk to him, and he said he was proud of me for continuing the tradition of that shot.
Kareem, you are part of one of the most iconic sports photos from the 1967 Cleveland Summit.
Mm-hmm.
When you see that picture today, or whenever you have a chance to see it, what do you think about when you look at that picture?
Well, I think about how sports and politics had, joined together and were part of each other. And Muhammad Ali was he was sincere. That's the thing that we found out, that he wasn't just saying it. He believed it, and he was a conscientious objector. He was finally upheld by the Supreme Court and got his crown back. But the thing that impressed me the most about him was that he meant everything that he said. He didn't. I think his quote was, "Ain't no Viet Cong ever called me the N-word," And that makes a lot of sense to Black Americans, especially at that time.
You are still at the intersection of politics and sports with your Substack writing. Why is it important for you to send that out?
Well, I think that just letting people know how I feel is important. Not everybody sees things the same way, so I use my voice.
Do you think athletes have an obligation to speak out on issues of social justice and race?
I think the ones who have prepared themselves or who have an issue, they should use it, their platform. Some guys are, they're not eager to use it, because all of a sudden the spotlight is on them, and it could be a lot of negative things that are directed at them that they never experienced before, and it's all because they tried to help other people. But that's part of it.
Does that disappoint you when guys shy away from those issues?
No, I mean that's something that they have to learn. If they don't learn it, they don't learn it. Look what happened. Michael Jordan just donated a lot of money to a black cause, because he's changed a lot from the first time he told everybody that Republicans wear sneakers also. So people will get to a point where they see a need, maybe where they hadn't seen it before.
What do you think are the biggest challenges facing the league right now?
I don't think they have a whole lot of challenges, just to keep it clean, you know.
What do you mean by that?
Just the league has sold the game, and the players have really impressed athletes around the world. I think that's an awesome achievement. You know, Commissioner Silver and the guys who preceded him have done a great job of selling the game around the world now, and because it's indoors and it's something that it doesn't take a long time to learn if you really want to learn it. I look at all the players from Eastern Europe now that are playing in the NBA, and it's just because they've been teaching the guys the fundamentals, and it goes from there.
Like, when you say keeping it clean, what do you mean by that? Like keeping it authentic, or?
Yeah, keeping it authentic and you know, not letting a bad element, you know, become the face of the league. I think the league's face is a good element. You know, it's not
Yeah.
it's not a lot of bad things happening.
Gotcha.
Can I kind of take you back to when you were championing for social justice? What was it like playing during that climate?
I always thought it was two different things. You know, I did my social justice thing, but you know, basketball was my profession. You know, so I had to be ready to give the best, you know, as a professional athlete.
Kareem, you mentioned the Eastern European
Yeah.
players. I don't know how much you get to watch of the league in general. And you were a really good passing big. Do you get to see Nikola Jokic? And,
Yeah.
And what do you think of him, you know, given his size and playing this so-called center position?
I think he does a great job of spreading the ball around. You know, I always learned, starting in high school, hit the open guy. You know, and he brings it. He draws a lot of attention to himself with double and triple teams, and he finds the open guy. They got guys that can hit that shot. I think that's why they're a successful team, and you know, contenders with Jokic. Yet it, you know, being a 7-footer, he can play in front of the basket and block shots and get defensive rebounds. You know, denying the other team putbacks. You know, that's something a center should.
When it comes to the partnership with Adidas and the skyhook and the jackets and which part of the celebration are you are more proud of? I guess I would say. Like, you've got the part of it that's you know, highlighting some of the best on-court things that you did, and then there's the part about you as a social justice champion.
Well, I think I'm showing that we can do both. You know, you can be a very highly regarded professional athlete, and you can be a social activist. Jackie Robinson did that. He's one of the people that I always relate to. Bill Russell was a great example, and he did the same thing.
What was your role in creating the design of the sneakers? Did you have any role in that? The shoe that?
Well, the shoes that go along with the program represent the different aspects of my career. So there's UCLA, Lakers, Bucks, you know, Bucks, Lakers, and people that want to can join a club and get the shoe that they might want to wear.
Do you have any hand in the design?
No, but it's based on, you know, different aspects of my life, things that I did.
What would you say, I guess, for the players that you've paved the path for, about how they can pave the path for the next generation of players and stars, even internationally?
Well, I would say they just need to pay attention to what's going on around them, what's going on in the communities that they play in. Don't be parasites, you know, just go in there to get paid and say goodbye. You know, do things that help people from the communities that you entertain, and they'll appreciate you more, and things will get done. So I think everybody wins. The team wins, and the community wins. The players, they're appreciated.
Kareem, I was doing some research, when I was looking up some of LeBron's history and all the expectations that were put on him, and I was looking back. Do you maybe feel that maybe you were the first most famous high school basketball player that, the country knew about? And, do you remember, like, when you announced that you were going to go to UCLA, the
Yeah.
fanfare?
I had to have a press conference.
That was was that your first time speaking to the press?
Yeah, 1965. Yeah. My high school coach wouldn't let me speak to them until, I was done with what I had to do for high school. But I knew where I wanted to go.
Did you have that sense that, the country knew about you as a high school player?
I don't think I knew then what it meant. I can see now, LeBron planned everything so that as soon as he got out of high school, he could take the best advantage of his skill. And I knew that I had to go to 4 years of college. You couldn't get away from it. Two different circumstances.
When I mentioned Mr. Couch, you said, Couch, and you kind of looked at me funny. What sparked that, I guess, that emotion or reaction in you?
Well, we're in Salt Lake City, and I'm from Manhattan, and we're a long way from home and from where Mr. Couch and I interacted. So, just a surprise. That's all.
Oh, okay.
What does evolution of excellence mean to you?
Well, it means a generation showing the next generation how to do things and succeed the right way. Just like one generation teaching another. That's what it's all about, and that's why I'm starting the fan club and trying to get people involved.
Earlier, I talked about the challenge of the league, and Adam Silver talks today, obviously, and one of the things that I think highlighted this season has been like just star players being injured or missing games for whatever reason. What is your take on the way players have been missing games, or
What do they call it? Time management?
Load
or something?
management.
I didn't even get to ride in airplanes, okay? I mean, charter planes. We had to get up at 6 and 5 o'clock and go take a commercial flight, man. These guys don't know how well they're treated, Holy mackerel. Yeah, it's a big difference now.
It doesn't it doesn't bother you at all, or it's just
No, I mean, it's just that I know now that I can see, since I've retired, that if we had flown in charter jets, I could have played a couple more years. I could have played and played well.
What was that like getting into normal planes at like 7 foot?
Oh, you mean on commercial flights?
Yeah, for you, like.
Well, they just were at inconvenient hours for somebody who had played 48 minutes the night before. That's the big thing, I remember one time I missed the plane. I missed it. The plane, I was in Chicago. I woke up, it was like 11. And the team had gone to Atlanta. And I know, I woke up and I felt great, I must have missed the bus. I knew it.
Do you remember what
because I felt too good, waking up. But, I caught up to the team in Chicago, paid my own airfare, and they didn't come down too hard on me. But I think that was the toughest thing to deal with, just the grind of the schedule, and having to get those early morning flights.
How did you play that night in Atlanta?
We didn't play that night.
Oh, the next night or something?
Yeah, it was the next night.
Wow.
Yeah. So it all worked out.
Yeah.
I've always been kind of curious. Can I ask you about the Bruce Lee connection, how that kind of got started?
I was going to UCLA, and I had started studying martial arts, mainly Japanese martial arts. And I met a guy, well, I knew a guy who said, hey, maybe you should go and see what Bruce is all about. He was acting on TV at that time in the Green Hornet, playing Kato. So I went over and met him, and his style and his philosophy and what I could see of it was very convincing. I started training with him.
What about him, though, made you want to keep working with him?
Well, just that he got the most out of, Bruce was like 5'8", 5'9". He got the most out of his physique. And, I wouldn't have wanted to fight him, but the things that he knew, he convinced me, he got behind the bag and said, all right, kick and punch the bag. So, he put his weight behind it. I kicked it and punched it, and he said that was real interesting. He had his wife come out, and had me get behind the bag, and she kicked it and knocked me away from the bag, through the bag. And I said, hey, I got to learn how to do that. And that was it. I was a student and very committed. And it was great. It was a great experience learning it.
I think the first 7, I don't remember the exact number, but it's like the first 7 or 8 years of your career, they didn't even have it. There was no three-pointer.
Right.
If you had played in an era, not only when the shot was first introduced, but it was as prevalent as it is today, do you think that you would have tried to incorporate that into the shots that you took?
Yeah, I think so. I would have made more than one. I would have made more than one. I might have made it enough of them to not let LeBron catch me, because that extra point.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah, I wonder, and of course not to take anything from him, but he's like 9th all time in threes, and you made 1 in your career. So I've been thinking a lot about that lately, about getting to 38 plus that you had gotten to on twos and foul shots. I'm just wondering, how you think of that compared to the modern.
Well, it's different. The game's different from when it was before they had the 24-second clock. And think of the guys that played then.
Mm-hmm.
I always ask people about somebody that they knew was a great player and how he would do. No, we would have no idea. Sweetwater Clifton, great player, supposedly, but how would he have done with the 24-second clock and guys dunking and all of that? It's every era has its standouts, and that's just the nature of the game, I think.
All this couch business that I've been bringing up, I've been looking at this about Dyckman Park and about how you two lived there, and obviously you went on to be one of literally the greatest players of all time, and he went on to have this kind of behind-the-scenes career where he touched a bunch of NBA guys, Mark Jackson, all the way down. And the people who have met him know him and they know this stuff. But when it comes to you two, there isn't much of a link. And he, as I said, he explained this way that he said that he did interact with you. But because I had this opportunity, what would you say about him, or about how your relationship from all those years ago?
Well, he got us in places to play. That was the important thing. We didn't just spend all the time in the park. Go down and play at the Kennedy Center and places like that. So, Minnesink, there was a number of, the Lower East Side had a couple of good programs that he knew all about.
Like Holcomb Rutgers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is different than, which I didn't know that until this
Yeah,
year. It's different.
Holcomb died this summer. I was getting ready to go to UCLA. We played a memorial game for him. Yeah.
There was a time when there was some interest on your part to coach at Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he try to help you with that?
Yeah, I heard through the grapevine that he did. you know, that at least he brought my name up. And when some of the students found out that I wanted the job and they wouldn't even interview me, I heard there was some complaints.
Yes.
I know I would have complained if I had had a chance. I thought I could have done a good job, but you know, that's neither here nor there.
Is it true that you originally wanted to be a New York Knick instead of a Laker?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a Knick, and but Bill Russell was the best player, and his teams won, so I kind of switched allegiances. You know, then as a pro, they were our major enemy. Interesting.
What do you think of the era of player empowerment and star players switching teams, and you got Kevin Durant on the Suns now? What's your perspective on this star player movement?
I'm glad the really able players get paid. You know, that's good to see. Everything else, it's up and down, but the players can get paid if they have anything to offer. They get paid. I'm happy for them for that reason. You know, I just remember, and he just died, Paul Silas and Oscar and those guys, you know, they didn't have like the whole summer off. You know, they were working with the lawyers, you know, fighting for free agency. So I don't think we show them enough appreciation.
I know you played on some great teams, but did you ever think about, you know, what if I played with this person or played with that person ever?
Well, you know, I almost went to St. John's, and they had a good team. And if I had gone there, it might have been, you know, a whole lot could have been different. But UCLA really was the right place for me to go to.